that's actually a predator noise, not an alien noise. I can't make an alien noise, so yeah, you're going to deal with that. But today we're going to talk about Alien Covenant, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Michael Fassbender, Katherine Waterston, James Franco, Danny McBride, and a slew of other cast members. And this is a return to form for Ridley Scott. This is his first movie he's directed since Prometheus, but before that he only directed Alien, which is the first movie in the entire franchise. And I was really excited because I really enjoyed Prometheus, whereas there's some things about Prometheus that were really kind of stupid, like the scientists and some of the unanswered questions that a lot of people got. A lot of people were upset that it wasn't an alien movie, that it was just too much of a kind of exploring like the depths of human existence, kind of an evolution type movie. But I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed the environment and the setup that Ridley Scott made of this universe, and I thought it was really, really neat. And so this is a continuation of that. He kind of made this movie, Alien Covenant, more in the form of an alien film. Kind of reminds me of a mix between Aliens, the second film, and Prometheus a little bit. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the plot, tell you some of my pros and some of my cons, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this movie. Alright, so there's this crew, and all the cast members that I was telling you is on this spaceship, the Covenant. And they are on a colonization mission. They've discovered this planet that's really far off, and they have a lot of capsules and pods with human embryos to, potentially colonize this planet here. And so this is a group of couples that are going on this mission. So the story begins with kind of a tragedy that happens on the ship. It kind of wakes people up, it wakes the couples up. Someone dies very early on, and then they pretty much on accident figure out this transmission that's coming from this other planet that they've just almost passed, and it's playing this John Denver song. And they're like, what is this transmission? And like they actually try to figure it out. I'm like, wow, there's actually music coming from this planet. And then they scope it out, and then they say, oh wow, this planet's actually habitable, and there could potentially be life. Obviously there's someone on the planet because they're playing music, they're playing John Denver. So they discover this life-supporting environment. They go to the planet, a little bit of the crew stays behind on the ship, and so what they do is they reconnaissance on this mission. They're trying to scope out this environment here, and what happens during that when they're trying to scope out is two of the members get this airborne toxin that just goes into one's ear and then another one's nose. And so what happens from there is they start getting really sick really fast, and they're like, what's going on? It's like, we need to get back to the ship. And as that's happening, one of them gets to the ship, like coughing up blood though, doesn't know what's going on, puts him in the infirmary with another kind of nurse, and pretty much the backburster happens, and this is a different type of xenomorph, alien xenomorph that we see, and the xenomorph is like pretty much killing, the people inside. And so, meanwhile, on the outside, there's this other reconnaissance mission where this guy, it bursts right before they get in the ship, and it goes up his throat, so it's like killing them, but also at the same time like freaking out. But Michael Fassbender, who is one of the characters in this movie, he's actually two characters. He's Walter, who's on this mission with them. He's an android, just like David was in Prometheus. And David actually, during the time they're getting attacked by the xenomorphs, David saves them. He's actually the only sole survivor of the Prometheus, a failed mission that just happened, a couple years prior to that. We don't know really on the timeline how long that lasted. So from there, David saves them, and then they go back to, as you can see, it's this decimated area where all these creatures, pretty much the engineers, are all just destroyed and like decimated. It kind of looks like Pompeii, where there's just a bunch of ash covering the dead carcasses and bodies, and it's crazy, but it's really cool cinematography there. I'm going to use that as a natural transition from the story to some of my pros, because from then on it gets into an aliens movie, and you're going to watch it from there, so I don't want to spoil anything. Some of the pros in this movie: I love the cinematography. The environment is beautiful. That's the thing I really enjoyed about Prometheus, and that's the thing that's continued to make me enjoy this movie, Alien Covenant. And so I really enjoyed the environment of the film. It was really, really cool, really dark, really gritty, and it's stuff I enjoy. The second thing that I enjoy were some of the action sequences that happened in this movie. It's also kind of a con as well, but it was overall a very fun film to watch, at least in the action standpoint of just constant drama and something's happening. But that could also be detrimental to the film as well. But my biggest thing that I really enjoyed about this movie, where a lot of my friends did not, is the bigger question of creative creator. The very, very beginning of the film, I forgot to mention, was the scene between David, the android, and Guy Pearce, who was the creator in the first film. And I really enjoyed their kind of talk that they were having in this giant white room about piano. And it was all about power and who had the power over the other person. And it was really, really cool to see that play out throughout the film, and where this is going to cross into some spoiler territory, so I'm not going to try to avoid that, but just more or less who creates who is created, and who has the power over the other person, who can live the longest of life, like which species should die out, etc. It's all about that, and I really enjoyed that aspect about the xenomorphs, the humans, and the androids. And that's a very interesting concept in this film. So now that I'm talking about some of the pros, I'm going to talk a little bit about the cons. And this movie is filled with them. One is there's a lot of choppy plot points that happen in this film. It's all over the place, and the timeline is really messed up. There's, in Prometheus there was a picture of a queen in the engineer's room, and the xenomorphs didn't really exist technically in this Alien Covenant movie until a certain event happens in the movie. And so we're like, what? Like, that's not really how that works. And there's a lot of convoluted things that are just the plot points are just all over the place and scattered. And so apparently Ridley Scott's saying he's going to have a movie in between Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which is very strange why he didn't put the second movie out before he put out Covenant, but whatever. Second, there was a lack of character development. I didn't really feel for any of the characters, except for maybe the androids, and also Danny McBride. Honestly, he surprised me. I think he did pretty well, but besides that, none of the characters on this mission I felt for anything, because they didn't really explain. I don't even remember any of the people's names. I don't remember any of them. I only remember the main girl, who is pretty much Ripley or Shaw, pretty much, because that's what these alien movies have, this female heroine in it. But I don't even remember her name too well, but I also just remember the androids, Michael Fassbender and Danny McBride. And that's all I really remember, and I don't remember anyone else's characters. So that's, it shows that it doesn't really have that much depth to this movie. It's just an action movie. That's what it felt like. And finally, to me, there wasn't enough substance there, and also that there was a lot of unanswered questions in Prometheus that a lot of people had, and this movie just continued with the confusion. It really didn't answer too much. Near the beginning, it kind of explains what happens when David and Shaw get to the engineer's home planet, and he just decimates the entire place. They don't want to ask questions or and answer any of those things, and so it just felt like it was choppy and swept under the rug really fast. Like we're not going to explore that aspect of this world. We're just going to make that a moot point, and also just like blow up the world. And so it's like, what? Like, I was really interested in that part of Prometheus, and a lot of people I know were really interested in that part. So what does this all say about this movie? I give this movie kind of a 3.5. So in some sense I really, really enjoy it for what it is. In some sense I really don't enjoy it. But for now I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I'm going to go down a little bit, because I know this movie is filled with a lot of errors. Until another Alien movie comes out, maybe potentially answering some of these errors, I'm going to have that movie at a 3 out of 5. But for me, I'm going to own this movie eventually, because it's the 4th best movie in the Alien franchise, in my opinion. It's Alien, Aliens, Prometheus, and then this. I do not like Alien 3, I do not like Alien 4, nor do I like the AVP series that much. So those are my thoughts on Alien Covenant. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to share this link. And I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.